early erotica contributor was Cuban writer Anais Nin, who began writing naughty literature after reading French paperbacks in an apartment she rented with her husband in Paris. One by one, I read these books, which were completely new to me. I had never read erotic literature in America. They overwhelmed me. I was innocent before I read them, but by the time I had read them all, there was nothing I did not know about sexual exploits. I had my degree in erotic lore. She and other famous writers were solicited to write pornographic literature for $1 a page for a private collector. Her stories eventually became posthumous collections Delta of Venus and Little Birds, published in the 1970s. These books would be of interest to the writer Susie Bright, the editor of On Our Backs, an erotica magazine for lesbians that got its name from the rad femme news journal Off Our Backs, which regularly published anti-porn views. The 70s, a period of second-wave feminism, was still a weird time for women's sexuality, especially in brewing sex wars in which radical feminists saw most sex and expressions of eroticism as negative or as performances for the male gaze. For instance, it was common belief that women didn't have sexual fantasies and therefore didn't need erotic literature. And author Nancy Friday's books of interviews with women caused her to be explicitly labeled not a feminist by Miss Magazine in the 70s. For perspective, her first book, 1973's My Secret Garden, came out a year after The Joy of Sex, which was itself groundbreaking. Though Friday did not in fact identify as feminist, the implication by Miss was that she couldn't be an ally to women because she encouraged sexual fantasies and exploration. During the next decade, after the failures of 2 novels following Interview with a Vampire, Anne Rice published the Sleeping Beauty novels under a pseudonym, A.N. Roquelaure. I probably said that wrong. What does this say? Somebody tell me in the comments. While much of Rice's work to this point had elements of the erotic, the Sleeping Beauty trilogy was so sexual that her regular publisher, Knopf, considered it too obscene to publish. Rice said, "I wrote the erotica because I couldn't find that kind of book in bookstores. I wanted to write not the kind of books where you'd mark the hot pages, but where every page would be hot." She added, "I didn't put anything in those books that didn't turn me on. I didn't mean to act it out. I have no interest in acting out S&M. Never have." These erotic BDSM novels, set in a medieval fantasy world, played on the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale and carved out a loyal fan base. Rather than Sleeping Beauty being awoken by a prince with a kiss and whisked off to live happily ever after, the prince awakens her with sex and then imprisons her as a sex tribute. The books became so attached to BDSM culture that classified ads from the 90s reveal a bunch of singles looking for partners or hookups who had read the novels, and the books also became highly contested and banned. After a 12-year-old borrowed the second book in the series in 1996 from Columbus Metropolitan Library, her mom complained, and the books were banned for everybody. And people really liked those books because the library at the time owned 29 well-loved copies. Okay? And 5 audio tape versions. Columbus, Ohio is freaky. I used to live there. When Anne Rice revealed herself to be the author of the Sleeping Beauty trilogy as early as 1990, there were murmurs about her bedroom proclivities. Her husband Stan defended her, saying, "She's no more sadomasochistic than she's a vampire." In 1993, Rice scoffed at people who slammed her erotica, saying, "Women are entitled to our own porn, our own fantasies, our own sexuality. Women are out of the closet. This is the age of Hilary Clinton and Madonna." The Sleeping Beauty trilogy became a quartet with a 4th release in 2016, 3 years after she defended Paula Deen being exposed for using the N-word as her being a victim of lynch mob culture. Sorry, I couldn't resist spilling the tea.